So competitive eater Scott Bickel committed suicide a few days ago after actually writing a suicide message on his Facebook and then going through it. The message simply states that he just couldn't live with bipolar anymore, how difficult it really is to live with. Scott was an up-and-coming competitive eater. He was an inspiring competitive eater. Basically, he was pushing himself to the limit. He tried doing all these challenges, tried to beat all these records. He beat some records, and then he was trying to qualify for that Nathan's hot dog eating contest on July 4th, and basically he had to qualify for it, so he had to do a qualifier, and unfortunately he came in second place. He kind of rubbed people off in the wrong way going into all these contests, because he was stating that he would do like 50 or 60 hot dogs in 10 minutes and he's going to win it all and everything, and then he ended up eating 18 hot dogs in that 10-12 minutes. He didn't qualify. But that put aside, he basically just was trying to push himself. He wasn't, if you look at what he was doing in his life, he was trying to push himself to the limit with everything that he does. If he pushed himself like he did with all the other things in his life, then he thought that he'd be capable of eating 50, 60 hot dogs in that 10 minutes. And that's what this video is really about. It's not about his competitive eating. It's about the fact that he tried to push himself every day and try to live his life to the fullest. This guy really hits home because, for two things. First of all, I never met him in person, but I had a lot of Facebook conversations with him. He was asking me about competitive eating, all this other stuff. He actually asked me about my dad's bipolar at one point, which really hit me hard. I mean, my dad suffered from bipolar. He was manic for quite a bit of time. He was depressed. He is depressed right now. And that's how it is living with someone who is bipolar. In fact, I think something like 1 in 25 people will experience bipolar in their life in one degree or another. Sometimes it's a lot worse in one person and a lot, it's not as noticeable in another person. But nevertheless, it's just something that people have to deal with. These people with bipolar aren't necessarily any different than us. They're just, their brain is going to act differently. Sometimes they're going to come off as pure geniuses. Sometimes they're going to come off as crazy. Sometimes, they get into their depressive state and they don't talk to anyone. It can be regulated by medication, but sometimes it can't. A lot of people don't want to be on medication and just want to have that crazy feeling or that really high feeling that you get from being in a manic state, because you're capable of actually being up for 6 or 7 days at a time, or sometimes even longer, and just keep doing crazy things or just keep doing stuff, and your mind just keeps thinking. And I think that's what Scott really wanted to show others, is that people with bipolar can still have a normal life, can still achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve if they just keep pushing themselves. And I think he just wanted to show that, even though he had this illness, he's still capable of doing anything that he really wants as long as he pushes himself and keeps spreading his message around the world. In fact, he wrote a book about his life and, stating all the difficulties with bipolar and growing up with some difficulties with family, and honestly just really inspired me lately. I was anorexic at one point, and I am that much more happy that I am spreading my message and open about it and capable of talking with other people about all the, difficulties that go alongside with it. I mean, whether it's bipolar or an eating disorder, they're both mental illnesses, and just because you have something like that doesn't mean that you have to treat that person with that illness any differently. They just have this mental illness that is, I can't even describe how consuming it is on a daily basis. People suffering with illnesses like this need our support. There's no reason to be negative about it. There's no reason to not be open about it. I think a lot of people are, unfortunately, in this world are embarrassed when they have something like this because it's not normal, or it's going to be frowned upon, or something like that. And the truth is, there is a lot of help out there with bipolar. There's medication. With eating disorders, there's a lot of psychological help that you can get, support from others. The more support you get, the more treatment you get, the more help you get, the more of a chance that you're going to be able to live a normal life, live your life to the fullest, and actually enjoy it. I still remember when I was anorexic, I was pretty much on this verge of suicide as well. I didn't want to do this, I didn't want to do that, everything was going wrong, I hated everything about myself. But now that I've overcome all that, I love life. I love every single day that I wake up. I love the people that are in my life. I love my family, I love my girlfriend, I love all my friends. I am able to go out, I'm able to travel around and see things that I wouldn't be able to see. I'm doing things that I never thought possible in my life, especially when I was in that state. I thought I was just going to be sitting at home for the rest of my life, just surrounded by food and not eating it, just thinking about it and all that. And that's what I want to address in this video, is Scott Bickel's suicide. It should be an eye-opener for a lot of people. You may not know Scott Bickel for his competitive eating, you may not know him for his messages about bipolar, but you should check out what he's done. You know, I'm going to include a link to a book that he wrote. Here's a tribute video that was made for him. There's a lot of people in this world that are really doing the same thing, and I think we really need to open up our eyes to these people, open up our minds to these people, open up our ears, and take in that message and really live our life to the fullest, because seriously, we don't know what every day brings to every person. Anything can happen. You know, whether our lives end today, tomorrow, or in 50 years from now, regardless, we want to make sure that we lived our life to the full potential, that we lived it as happily as possible, that we were able to do everything that we wanted to do, and that we had no regrets. I'm blessed with my life right now. I couldn't be happier. I'm not rich or anything like that, but I love life. And I think that everyone in this world needs to do the same thing. Open your minds, write down your issues, solve your issues, go forward and push yourself to solve different issues. Life's short. Stay sexy, stay hungry, get laid.